Hello, it is all weaving again this week. I do have some crochet on the go in the form of the temperature snake, and it is nearly the end of September. Feel free to worry about that, but I'm not up to date with it. I'm up to date to the middle of last week, I think, so I'll catch that up for September and show you that next week. And in the meantime, weaving. So this was off the loom last week, but it hadn't been wet finished. It has been wet finished now, and it does look a little bit different in a couple of ways. There we go. I was going to say, I can't unfold it for you though. So it pretty much looks, at first glance, it looks much the same. There hasn't been a huge amount of shrinkage or anything like that. I did have some problems. Where is it? I found it, and now I've lost it. Where is it? Some of my ends popped. There it is. Some of my ends popped. So you can see that brighter, I don't know. I show you things so badly. That brighter stripe just there, that's where the ends have popped out. So I need to decide if I'm going to leave that as it is or if I'm going to needle weave some black cotton in over the top to sort of hide that join a bit. I'll have a think about that, bearing in mind that I will probably forget to do it. So, you know, I have to factor that in when I'm deciding what I'm going to do. The other thing is the edges have shifted around slightly, not bothered about that. And it has developed, and I'm trying to find an example for you, like a nice clear example, because I can see it quite well in person, but I don't know how it's going to show up on camera. But it has developed tracking, and I found some nice clear examples of the tracking, and they have gone. So let me see if I can find it. Tracking is something that predominantly cotton does. There we go. So you might be able to see the diagonal lines there that have sort of developed a little bit of a texture. And it sort of looks like a pattern has been woven into it. So tracking is basically just that. It gives you these sort of diagonal effects. Let's see if I can get that in shot. Let's see if I can find what I just saw. There we go. So those two dark diagonal lines, they're example of tracking. Some people love tracking, some people hate it. I love it. It adds a really nice texture and a sort of visual interest to a piece. So I'm always excited when I get tracking. Other people are desperate to try and get rid of it. I don't know what causes it. I was going to look that up and I forgot to. So we'll say Wizards did it. So that is finished, except for if I remember to fix where the ends have popped out. Now last week on the loom I had something in lace weight, which I didn't think was going to come off the loom in time for this week, I'll be honest with you, because it took forever. I got it off the loom yesterday. It hasn't been wet finished because, of course not. Sometimes I do wet finish before I record it. I'd like to point that out. Sometimes I do. So this is alpaca. The purple has a little bit of wool in it as well, but it's mostly alpaca. It is so soft and so airy and drapey, and this is, as I said, not wet finished. So it's going to have a nice soak in some wool wash to just kind of relax. That sounds nice, doesn't it? I'd like a soak in some wool wash to relax. Mine smells like eucalyptus. It'd be like being up a tree. Anyway, so that needs a wet finish, but that is how that has come off. And it is just, I'm really happy with it, but it did take forever because it is such fine yarn. But it's got a good drape, it's nice and floppy, it's soft as anything. So I'm pleased with that, and we'll see how it looks when it's wet finished. Now, I do have something on the loom, of course I do. And spoiler alert, it is some weaving. So I'll show you that now. I have a new light. I don't know that it's lighting particularly well, but it is lighting better than the last light was lighting. So we're moving up in the world. Now this is a clasped weft, so I've got the blue happening on this side and the yellow happening on this side. This yellow is a gorgeous, bright, sunshiny yellow. I don't know that it's showing up very well because, you know, my light. This is Bendigo Woolen Mills Classic 8-ply, and this is another ball of that because I've got one whole ball on the loom and shuttle and then one here to finish it off so I don't have to worry about running out of yarn. This is the size of ball that you get from Bendigo Woolen Mills with most of their yarns. It's 200 grams, about 400 metres. Brilliant. I love them for it because you can just put so much yarn on the loom. Now this side will get to some more jewel tones, so you can maybe see there's some purples, some greens, and the rest of those blues. This is Colorina by Hobie Yarns. Which has been kicking around in my stash for a long time, and I finally got round to doing something with it. So hopefully, because it's got these bands of just the plain blue, but I should be working towards some purples now, hopefully. The way that I do clasp warp is can I show you? I don't know that I can. I've got a yarn ball holder. Hang on while I put my yarn away in it. It's tied to the loom, so it's a bit hard to show. So I have this yarn ball holder, which I keep the other yarn in, And that just, I've tied that to the side of the loom. It hangs off the side of the loom, and then my other yarn is obviously on the shuttle. So that is what I'm working on at the moment. I have literally just started, just out of frame, about 2, maybe 3 rows out of frame is the hem stitching. I've only just started putting on the blue today. So hopefully this will be off the loom for next week, but I've said that before and it doesn't always happen. The sun moved, so I did as well. Anyway, that is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week, which will be October, I remind you. Take care of yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.